Snapchat was the question that I looked at.
Oh, Andy was excited about your Snapchat
yes,
question.
They have 2 teenage kids on Snapchat and everything. And it's such a great platform, but it's such a bad platform, don't you think? I mean,
well, how old are your kids, and why do you think it's bad?
Yeah.
Okay, 15, 17.
Okay.
And Snapchat disappears, right?
Right.
So these kids are growing up in a society of sending things out and everything disappearing, and they have no accountability for anything that they're doing.
Well, Michelle, let's talk about this. You and I grew up in a world where everything we did disappeared. There was no documentation.
Correct.
When you went on your phone,
it wasn't as instantaneous as this is.
Sure, it was. No, yours was instantaneous too. When you went in your room, locked your door, and called your girlfriend on the phone and said stuff, right, it would disappear. Nobody, as a matter of fact, it never had the chance of appearing. Everything was disappearing in the way that we grew up, right?
True, but I think this is more dangerous.
Well, tell me why it's more dangerous.
Well, because I think that they don't understand at their age everything that they're doing. I mean,
are you talking about? Well, let's define it. Are you talking about sending each other nude pictures?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
That's fine, but I think where you have to take this is, where does that all go, right? So I think couple things. One, for all these nudes that everyone's sending, there's 2 things that I always tell parents. Number one, it's remarkable in these trillions of nudes that are being sent, how none of them are showing up in other places, right? Number 2, a lot of parents call me and go, Gary, I'm scared if my son, girls mature faster than boys. It's really interesting. I think people are really surprised where most of my DMs come from parents. It's more parents of boys worried that girls mature faster and they don't want their boys being spoiled. And I laugh and I'm like, I'm being serious. I laugh and I go,
but I still agree with that.
See?
Wait, what'd you say?
She agrees with that. Here's what I always remind parents, Michelle. I remind them that their boys have the internet on Safari on their phone, and they are far more likely to go to Pornhub than they are to get a nude from some girl in their class. And there's a naivete and a fear that's associated with parenting. I mean, look, Michelle, your brothers, if you had them, or your friends in your class, they went to 7-Eleven and stole Playboys. Like, boys will be boys at some level. Like, maturity's gonna happen. 15 and 17-year-olds are gonna live through their thing. I think we as parents fear new technologies without fully going through them in like what's actually happening, because again, our generation, we're renting VHSs from the video store and waiting for parents to leave to watch like a porn. Like, there's just this extreme like demonization of new technologies while humans are still acting the same.
Yes, I do agree with you to some point. I just think that it's definitely a bad platform too.
Yeah, but I think you haven't given the I want to agree with you if you would give me something that is tangible. Saying that 15 and 17-year-olds don't fully understand is a universal statement.
Okay.
You and I at 15 to 17 didn't understand.
Here's another one.
Give me.
A friend of mine's son posted a picture of a handgun, but it was really just an airsoft gun.
Okay.
And he got suspended from school.
Okay.
No tolerance.
Yeah, but like, to me,
he didn't realize what he was doing. He thought he was being cool.
I got it, but couple things.
But
let's talk about being suspended from school first. Let's actually like play it out. How devastating or upsetting is that in the macro? For me, it's a non-event in actual life. It may be embarrassing for the mom to have to explain that to the other moms, but in the scheme of human life, being suspended from school feels awfully minor. And I can tell you 87 different stories. In my school, there was something called pantsing. There was a very big thing that happened in junior year of my high school. Here's what it was about. And people are laughing, so I guess it was universal, not just in Jersey in the 90s. Pantsing in my high school was you would walk in the halls and people would try to pull down your entire pants.
Oh my God.
Multiple kids.
Still do it.
Great. So multiple kids in my school got suspended for pulling the pants down of both boys and girls. Literally walking through my high school, I would see naked kids because somebody was behind them, and literally not only, and if you were really good at it, you could also get the underwear, which was extremely.
That's terrible.
I'm being dead serious. So I don't know. I don't want to call out their names because a lot of people watch this shit now. But like, people got suspended in my school for pantsing a girl in the middle of the whole school. That's also embarrassing. That wasn't Snapchat. Snapchat's not dangerous. Kids are doing dumb shit from 13 to 20 because that's the evolution of a human. That's where I would go with it. I don't think Snapchat is the problem in the scenario of kid putting up, a foam gun. I think kids do dumb shit and they play out digitally or in real life. I would ask parents across America, what's worse? Foam gun on Snapchat, by the way, in today's environment, so I have empathy, or boy pulling down girl's pants, catches underwear, and she's naked in front of the entire school. Both feel pretty difficult to be palpable. What I'm saying is, do you know how much dumb shit kids are doing in real life, and you have no idea they're doing it because it's not being documented?
I'll never say not my kid either, because you just never know. It could be my kid tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it depends on the person, really. I mean, it's not really. I don't think it's the like Snapchat or Instagram. They could post whatever they want on Instagram. They post whatever they want. Kids have like Finstas now where they only accept 10 kids, and they're posting tons of different kinds of pictures. I think it really depends on the person and what they're taught. Like for me and my parents, for example, they always, since when I first got a phone, they said whatever you put out there is out there forever. Whether it's on social media or even in real life, whatever you say to someone, it depends on the person, and I think what they're taught and what you taught your kids, and if you trust your kids. I mean, I'm not a parent.
Yeah, listen, you can come from your perspective. Look, I think, and Michelle, I'm so glad you called because there's so many interesting conversations here. Number one, what does society accept? Let me talk about my career. In 2009, 9 years ago, I started putting out business videos on the internet. I was scolded. If you go look at the comments, I was scolded, Michelle, for cursing. Like, it was completely unacceptable in so many people's eyes. Now, it is just so much more minor to most people's eyes than it was just 10 years ago. So I think the other thing is, who's the judge and the jury? Like, I am super duper not concerned about my child being suspended from school because I disrespect the institution of a high school. And I think things evolve. I think the question is intent and who's the kid really in the scheme of things. Because I think this, Michelle, I think you and I can both agree, both of us did some dumb shit in high school.
Sure. Everybody does. And if they say that they didn't, they're lying.
That's exactly right. So I think what parents have to reconcile, I think most parents are actually more worried about the judgment of other parents because they know their kid and they know if they're a good kid or a troubled kid, one way or the other, of how it all plays out. Do you know what I mean?
I do, because I tell my kids I don't care what everybody else thinks. I only care about you two and what I think. I really don't care about other people's judgment, but I'm just saying, as kids too, and as society, they're being looked at. I mean, girls send nude photos. It's like someone pulling down it's not the same as someone pulling down your pants, but you're allowing yourself to show the world everything.
Listen, and I get that. And listen, no parent wants to have the visual of their young daughter sending nude photos to somebody else. I have unbelievable amounts of empathy for that. I think what I'm most fascinated by, and this is super philosophical, which I think is always dangerous because when these things become real to people, they're like, that's cute, Gary, that you're talking about empowerment in an 80-year window around how social media plays out. I now have today a 17-year-old girl and I'm worried about this. So first, I made a rule a long time ago about like getting into people's business, not their marriages, not the way they raise children. But I will say this, demonizing platforms that are exposing you, not changing you, is something I think parents need to be more thoughtful of in 2018. Right? Because it's not Snapchat.
No, it's not Snapchat. It's just the platform that they're using to do these things.
That's right. But then the question is why. And I understand that. The question is, why are they doing these things? For example, I ripped apart a mother.
Popularity?
Yeah, well, or something else. I ripped apart a mother privately who I'm an acquaintance with who got very upset about my points of view on social media and things of that nature. and I was eating it, but I was sitting on something, and just to like play it out, basically I told her in not so many words, maybe if you didn't keep telling your daughter when she was 8, 9, 13, and 14 to get skinnier, maybe she would have better self-body image, and maybe she wouldn't have played out that way. So parents love to blame social media, and they love to blame other kids, but they're not paying attention when they snap at their daughter when they're 11 and they're eating a cupcake, and they're reinforcing to their daughter that that mother has judgment on that girl's body type.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I think, like, I think there's an unbelievable lack of responsibility by parents right now. That you know, there's a lot going on, and I just think a lot of parents don't want to take on accountability for what they're doing. Right, Michelle? You know this. You're in the trenches.
They don't. They absolutely don't want to take on accountability, and they turn the other eye.
That's
they
right.
Look the other way.
Social
and they do the
media.
other thing.
Social media has been the current punching bag of parents who don't want to take accountability for the fact that they did not raise their kids with enough self-esteem to be able to navigate in today's world. The end.
Right.
And by the way, Michelle, let me give you a counter argument real quick, because this has turned into a very important conversation. What about
There's so much more to talk here. This is just surface talk.
Well, what's funny is we went down one route. I gave you the example of mom making daughter insecure, thus daughter's looking for positive reinforcement. Where's she going to get it? From going scandalous to 15-year-old boy who gives her positive reinforcement. Let me go the other way. The other thing that parents have to recognize is if you tell your kid that they're great at everything when they suck at singing, or when you give them a 9th place trophy for tennis and make them feel like they won. Well, then when everyone gets trophies, when they get to 15, 17, 19, 22, and the world kind of takes over and they're out of the parents' bubble, and they're like, wait a minute, I'm not the best, and I've never dealt with adversity, and my parents taught me that adversity is bad, all of a sudden they're crippled by adversity and they act out in a different way. This is a very important time for parents to step up. Parents are becoming more removed and selfish about their own lives than ever, because parents are younger than ever and they want to still keep on living. And so what they're doing is they're pointing fingers at social media platforms, and it's a very important subject that we need to talk about more.
It is extremely important, and this is surface talk, and if you ever want to talk about it again, I have so much to say about it.
Listen, we're here right now.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it's important because, look, baby Ariel has to sell some fucking books, and I will tell you that knowing where she went with this book, this is a book that I think parents and kids both need to read, because it's going to give them insight. I've been talking a lot because I'm very passionate about this. I want baby Ariel to talk about the DMs she's getting from 13, 14, 15-year-old girls and what they're saying about their parents. I'm going to let her do that, but I'm going to let you say something here, Michelle. You just said you have something else to say. Give me another data point of things that you find fascinating.
Oh, well, I'm just referring to this. I'm recently divorced, and I'm at a point in my life where I have to try to rebuild my life and then make something for myself, because in just a few years my kids are off and on their own. But yet it's this push and pull, because I don't want to give up my kids, and let's say, use the word abandonment. It's not the right word, abandonment, but I still need to rebuild my life, but yet still continue to guide them to make sure that they're making the right choices in their future. I can't, just walk away, but there's got to be a balance there.
That's such a good point. Between what you have to do professionally, the fact that you have to now play in a new personal environment, and you need to be happy before you can bring any happiness to your kids. I mean, to your point, all of these things are so circumstantial. I love when people point at other people and say they wish they were them, and I'm like, yeah, but tomorrow that person could become terminally ill. Nobody knows anybody's details, and that's such a good point. I mean, to me,
true. That's what my friends laugh at me. They laugh at me because I've become a stair climber, where I climb the World Trade Center. I climb Empire State Building. I just applied for the lottery for the Eiffel Tower. But then I go hot air ballooning. I'm going to be in the Macy's Day Parade and holding on to one of those balloons in the Macy's Day Parade. And, and I'm hiking, I'm doing all these things, and my kids are like, wow, Mom, that's so inspiring. And I pull them along with me to do these out of the box type of things, because I think it's really important not to be pigeonholed into everything. But I want to hear about the book.
Instead of the book for a second, because we'll close with that, tell me and tell everybody who's watching who have no fucking idea, because 14-year-old Sally is sending you messages. They're not walking to their mom's room and saying, let me tell you everything. What are the common themes when you read stuff about what kids are saying about their parents?
I mean, it's a lot of, I think right now kids, a lot of pressure that they're getting from their parents to a lot of comparing their kids to other children based on what they see. I think parents are now on social media more, and they see other kids. They go on Facebook and they see Stacy's kid and this person's kid, and a lot of comparisons between, okay, why aren't you more like this person? And for this kid, they, being not comfortable with themselves, they go on social media and to find this, their comfort, which I don't think is right. And they compare themselves again to another kid. They compare themselves to every social media, every magazine model, every single person on social media, and they're already getting that pressure from their parents, and they're already getting the comparison from their parents, and now they're doing it to themselves, which I don't think is right, of course. I think to go on social media, one thing I learned is you have to be comfortable with yourself first, and you have to be comfortable enough to put yourself out there as who you truly are, or else the comments will get to you. And then I think also with more parents, just in terms of school, they feel a lot of just pressure when it comes to school, when it comes to why aren't you doing football, or why aren't you doing this, why aren't you doing that, why aren't you starting your own whatever, because they see all these other kids doing certain things.
Right, and what's really interesting is they see all these other kids and people haven't quantified it. There are a couple thousand kids breaking out, and there's tens, if not hundreds of millions of kids. So like, people are comparing themselves to the 0.1%. They don't understand the talent that is involved. We've quantified the talent of being LeBron James. We have not yet quantified the talent of being Baby Ariel. We haven't.
Exactly.
Like, just to give you a nice compliment, like, we are not in a stage yet where we understand being an influencer and being a travel blogger is work and talent.
And now, because of the way I think a lot of social media influencers present themselves is, oh, here's my everyday life, and here is me, and blah, 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 and this is what I'm doing. And parents don't understand why their kid can't do that, for example.
And kids don't understand why they can't do that.
Exactly, because they see us just being ourselves.
Yeah, they think they're going to go outside, take a picture of their first Instagram, put a really rad filter on it, add a couple cute words, and 4 minutes later, Nerds Candy is going to give them $50,000.
Exactly.
Literally. That's it. Michelle, thank you for calling. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see Michelle on the Macy's Day Parade.